Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nusalli wa nusallimu ala rasulil kareem. Chapter 16. Again, very common question, and it's a very interesting question. It really, if someone denies this, all I can say is that ignorance is beyond understanding. Alright? Once you understand about Ilme ghayb. What is Ilme ghayb? Ilme ghayb is knowledge which is unseen to the normal human being. Alright? And the Sunnis say, or rather the proper Muslims say, that the knowledge of the unseen was given to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He has the knowledge of the unseen. And this is part of prophethood. Can you imagine if a person claims to be a prophet, and you ask him, okay, tell me about Jannah. He goes, I've got no idea about Jannah, sorry. Okay, tell me about Jahannam. Sorry, no idea. It's Ilme ghayb, I've got no idea about it. Okay, tell me about Day of Judgment. I've got no idea about, I'm sorry, no idea about Day of Judgment. Because Ilme ghayb, I'm not allowed to have knowledge of Ilme ghayb. But I thought you were a prophet. Yeah, but I've got no knowledge of Ilme ghayb. So you know as much as we do. That's right. In fact, you probably know more than me. So what use are you doing? What's the use of calling yourself a prophet? You're not a prophet. You're just an idiot. You're just an imposter. A prophet who's a Nabi. Nabi means, I've come to give you information. Mubashira wa nadhira, Allah says, we have sent you to give good news. What good news? This is how to get into Jannah. This is information that's not available for you. This is how to avoid Jahannam. This is what it's going to be like on the Day of Judgment. This is the nature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or rather, these are His qualities. These are the qualities of people of paradise. This is what you need to clean your heart. This is what Nabuwah is all about. So, by definition, if someone is a prophet, by definition, he has to have Ilme ghayb. You can't carry out your mission. So then the question arises, okay, how much Ilme ghayb has a prophet got? Because the non-Sunnis say, everything he's got, knowledge he's got, he told us. So he's got nothing more than that. Okay. That also goes against Qur'an and Sunnah, okay, but we'll come to that. So, just common sense and the definition of Nabi makes us realize that prophets have Ilme ghayb by default, by definition. Otherwise they can't be prophets. If you're a prophet, you've got Ilme ghayb. How else has He told us about Barzakh? You've got Ilme ghayb. Nobody's seen Barzakh. Even those who are in Barzakh, they can't tell us about it. But He's told us in detail. How does He know in detail? You don't find any revelation. So He has to know. He has to know from somewhere, somehow. So this is the knowledge we say that Allah has given Him. And it's Qur'an. It's Qur'an. So let's have a look. Allah says, Alimul ghayb fala yudhiru ala ghaybihi ahada. Now this is a verse quoted frequently by people, and it says, Alimul ghayb, He is a knowledge, He has a knowledge of the unseen, i.e. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fala yudhiru ala ghaybihi ahada. And He doesn't give that knowledge to anyone. And they stop there and they stop the quote. And we agree with that, yeah. But, there's a verse of Qur'an. Let me give you another verse of Qur'an. فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ. Allah says, those who pray, فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ, woe to them. In other words, Allah's condemning them. That's a complete verse of Qur'an. Does that mean we don't pray? What about the next verse? This is, let's carry on the discussion. Allah is not stopping there. الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. Those who pray out of show. Allah is condemning those people. Woe to those who pray out of show. I don't know if you know, there's a story whereby this Muslim is praying, and he's actually a very good Muslim, got a very pious heart, and he's praying with complete devotion. And when people look at him, you can see, subhanallah, look, he's praying with lots of taqwa and lots of humility, khushu, and people begin to speak about him, and they say, look at this young man, look how beautiful his prayer is, every emotion, look how his face is concentrating, look at his khushu, look, we can see his khushu. They say, yes, subhanallah, he's an example for us all, you know. And obviously nafs takes over and this guy's listening. So you think, oh, that's really good. So he's listening, and they're praising him, and then in the middle of his prayer, he turns to them and he says, do you know what? I'm fasting today as well. I can't believe it. It might be a true story, but I don't want to believe it's a true story. But this is what Allah's condemning, those who are praying. He may have started off, let me pray, you know, but then people are sitting and he's saying, oh, okay. You know, it's like people outside in front of the Kaaba. They say, take a picture of me, and they're making dua like this. Then they say, and this is truthful. And then they say, show me the picture. He goes, I'm not looking pious enough, let's take it again. This is actually true. I've seen this. So this is not the way. So فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ, those who pray out of show. So this is the same here. This one verse, عَالِمُ الْغَيْبِ فَلَا يُظْهِرُ عَلَى غَيْبِهِ أَحَدًا, and then Allah says, إِلَّا مَنِ ارْتَضَى مِنْ رَسُولٍ, except as He wishes to give to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So He is saying, He is giving the Ilme ghayb to Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When people say, yeah, but he got it from Allah, of course he got it from Allah. Who else is he going to get it from? He's going to get it from Allah. Well, no one's denying that. But the fact is, who did Allah give it to? He didn't give it to you, did He? He gave it to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's the issue. And how much knowledge? That's the next question. All right. But we can't. But to deny He has Ilme ghayb is to deny this verse. Illa man irtada min Rasul, except except the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who is pleased with. He wants to give him Ilme ghayb, and He has given him Ilme ghayb. This is a problem when people quote verses. They quote them out of context, they don't quote them properly, and they misinterpret their meanings. Like summun bukmun umyun fahum la yarji'un, they are deaf, they are dumb, they are blind. Who is this referring to? It's referring to the munafiqs. But they use these verses against the Muslims. Some verses Allah makes it very clear, قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ, Allah says this is for the kafirun, or يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, this is for the believers. But some verses you have to understand the context. So it's not that clear. Don't think, oh yeah, the verses of Qur'an are clear. Yeah, they are clear if you investigate them, if you look at them properly, if you look at the context. I heard one Christian, he was giving the tafsir of Qul Huwallahu Ahad to prove God is three. Yeah.
What was the argument?
It wasn't an argument, it was a tafsir. And he was saying, say is Allah the one, and then he said, one in purpose, not one in essence. So if you're misguided and you want to you can misguide however you want. So this is why we have the mufassirun who say, no, not talking about purpose, talking about essence. Qul huwallahu ahad. There's no question about purpose. It's all about essence. Say He is Allah and He is one. If it was purpose, He is one in purpose would be written. It's not written. Otherwise you can add anything you want. Right. So let's do tafsir properly, and let the mufassirun whom Allah has blessed, give us a clarification. So it's clear. Illa man irtada min Rasul. And another verse in Surah Najm, فَأَوْحَى إِلَىٰ عَبْدِهِ مَا أَوْحَى. This answers the question of how much knowledge did Allah give, because most non-Sunnis, they say that everything He knowledge He had, He gave us. Okay? Allah is rejecting that. This is the meeting He had with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Miraj, this verse. And when they met, Allah says, فَأَوْحَى إِلَىٰ عَبْدِهِ مَا أَوْحَى. Allah revealed to His servant what He revealed. In other words, I haven't told you everything about my revelation to him. This is secret between me and him. I haven't divulged how much knowledge I've given him. I've given him what I've given him, and that's all I'm saying. فَأَوْحَى إِلَىٰ عَبْدِهِ مَا أَوْحَى. And this is why, because this is Allah's connection with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There are certain parts of this relationship we are not allowed to know, because this is Allah's friendship with Him. This is confidential between Him and Allah.
Does that include things like, when you say like Yasin and Taha and all these things, those are kind of secrets that you don't know about?
Yeah, and it's another example, good example, these huruf al-muqatta'at like alif, lam, mim. Knowledge isn't known to us. The Prophet hasn't revealed it, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But he knows, and people think he doesn't know. Well, if he doesn't know, why is Allah says Ar-Rahmanu 'allama al-Qur'an? Allah has taught the Qur'an, meaning to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Is he saying he taught the Qur'an but not all of it? No, he's taught the Qur'an. So he has taught him, but he hasn't told us. This is again secret between him and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَأَوْحَى إِلَىٰ عَبْدِهِ مَا أَوْحَى. We have revealed what we have revealed. The Prophet ﷺ has given some of this knowledge to some of his companions. Like, for example, the names of the munafiqs. There are about, I think, a dozen munafiqs. And he didn't give anybody the names except one of his companions. So he knows all the time who they are. And when people ask this companion, give us a name, he goes, no, I promise never to give the names. Umar went to see him, Hazrat Umar, he goes, just tell me, is my name amongst them? Can you believe the humility of these people? The only hint people had was this companion never went to the funerals of certain companions. He refused to go, so I'm not going to that funeral. And I think on his deathbed he released the names, so people knew afterwards. That's the only hint. He never used to go to the janazah of certain companions. He actually refused. He had the opportunity, but he refused. So we know the names now. But how did the Prophet know? And he told. And another verse where Allah clearly says, "Tilka min anba'il ghayb." Now, if you see amba, this is a news, information. That's the same as Nabi. Anba'il ghayb, the information from the ghayb. Nuhiha ilayka, which we reveal to you. Ma kunta ta'lamuha, you didn't know it before. Okay. Nuhiha ilayk, we reveal it to you. So Allah is saying, I'm giving you knowledge of ilme ghayb. So it's proven again and again and again. When people say he has knowledge of ilme, that's against the definition of prophethood, against a verse of Qur'an. So all that's left is how much knowledge. فَأَوْحَى إِلَىٰ عَبْدِهِ مَا أَوْحَى. Allah hasn't told us how much. So you have no right to say whatever knowledge he had, he gave it. Where is that in the Qur'an? Where is that in the hadith? So let's look at a few ahadith on this. Now, one morning the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was a little bit late for Fajr, and he said, this is why I was late for Fajr. He said basically, during the night I was praying, and during my salah, or during my praying times, I actually fell asleep. And when I fell asleep, he said, I saw my Lord, blessed and most high, in the best of appearances. So basically, فَإِذَا أَنَا بِرَبِّي تَبَارَكَ وَتَعَالَى فِي أَحْسَنِ سُورَةٍ, in the best of appearances. فَقَالَ يَا مُحَمَّدْ, and Allah says, Ya Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. قُلْتُ, I said, لَبَّيْكَ يَا لَبَّيْكَ رَبِّ. He said, I am present, Lord. This is now conversation between Allah and His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the conversation was where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that there's a group who are discussing something, and do you know what they're discussing? And he says, قُلْتُ لَا أَدْرِي, I don't know what they are discussing. And he said this conversation happened 3 times. And then the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, قَالَ فَرَأَيْتُهُ, I saw him, Allah, وَضَعَ كَفَّهُ, place his palm, بَيْنَ كَتِفَيَّ, between my shoulder blades. I saw Allah place His palm between my shoulder blades. حَتَّى وَجَدْتُ بَرْدًا, and I sensed a coolness. And it carries on actually. Even I sense a coolness of His fingertips within my chest. فَتَجَلَّى لِي كُلُّ شَيْءٍ وَعَرَفْتُ, and then everything was given to me. Everything was disclosed to me. فَتَجَلَّى لِي كُلُّ شَيْءٍ, everything was, وَعَرَفْتُ, and I knew it. فَقَالَ يَا مُحَمَّدْ, and Allah says again, Ya Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the Prophet replied, لَبَّيْكَ رَبِّ, I'm present, Lord. This is Tirmidhi, and it's a tafsir of a Qur'an, and you find, and I put the full hadith in Appendix 4 again. And in one version of Tabarani, the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I acquired knowledge of the truth of everything. Now, that's not a small amount of information. That's number one. Number two, this is a dream of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but a dream of a prophet is actually a reality. It's not a made-up thing. I'll give you an example. The dream of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam to sacrifice his son, that's actually revelation from God. It's instruction from God. It's not a small thing, and the Qur'an confirms it. قَالَ يَا بُنَيَّ إِنِّي أَرَى فِي الْمَنَامِ أَنِّي أَذْبَحُكَ, oh my son, I saw myself sacrificing you. فَانْظُرْنَا مَاذَا تَرَى, what do you say about it? And his son said, oh my father, do what you have been ordered to do. So a dream of a prophet is not a normal dream. So this is a proper meeting between Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he felt the coolness in his blessed chest. Now, Allah has not chosen to reveal this via Jibreel alayhi salam, because the way the Quran was revealed is like a formal system. This is a personal revelation, and it's direct. It's not read this and learn it. This is Allah puts His blessed hand, obviously not hand like we know it, not fingers like we know it, between His shoulder blades. And the other question, why between His shoulder blades? Why not put it on the front of His chest? Because of the prophetic seal between His shoulder blades. I mean, that's my understanding. But he felt it in his chest, in his belly. And he actually said, I saw him, because the Prophet could see behind him sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it's clearly a Tirmidhi. and it's a Hasan hadith. Alright? And the Prophet is not, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is not going to make things up. Alright? So if you say, oh, you can't say he's got a hand, the Prophet himself is saying he's got a hand, alright? Or you can't say he's got fingertips, the Prophet himself is saying so he's got fingertips, alright? These are the words he used, so we are allowed to use these words, but we explain, unlike anything we know, unlike anything of creation. We add that. We discussed this in the first chapter. So a direct transfer to the blessed heart of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In fact, there's a verse of Qur'an which says Jibreel alayhi salam revealed the Qur'an to the Prophet's heart, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There's a verse of Qur'an that says that. Not to his mind, to his heart. Of course, to his mind as well, but to his heart. We find also in Bukhari, Imam Bukhari, just to show you how much knowledge we are talking about. Hazrat Huzaifa radiyallahu ta'ala an, he says that there was a speech that the Prophet gave sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and ما ترك فيها شيئا إلى قيام الساعة إلا ذكره. He gave us a speech, he left nothing out, he mentioned everything that would happen until the last hour. Alimahu man alimahu, whoever remembered. Wajahilahu man jahilahu, whoever forgot. And he said that during my life I recognized certain events that happened. He said, oh, the Prophet told us about this, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I remember this, he mentioned this. In other words, there was so much information in so much detail, even the companions themselves, radiyallahu ta'ala anhum, they couldn't retain it all. Can you imagine? In fact, there's one which says even when the bird was flying, he narrated the bird will be flying in this time, at this occasion, in this way. How do you know this information? This is knowledge of the future, knowledge of the unseen. So it shows the depth, and this is Bukhari. It shows the depth of information. Now they use this to say, see, he's telling everything he knows. Yeah, he's telling some of the things he knows, because he didn't talk about every single part of the world, did he, or the universe? So he's telling some of the things he knows. He didn't wait for revelation, did he? He didn't have Jibreel alayhi salam standing next to him, dictating to him. He knew it naturally. And then another hadith in Bukhari. This is in Kitabul Ilm. Also you find in Sahih Muslim. The Prophet actually said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, ask me anything you like. And one of the people wanted to know who his father was. Saluni amma shi'tum. Ask me anything you like. Qala rajul man abi. A man said, who's my father? Because this man was actually, I believe, being teased by others. So he was annoyed, says, let me, and in other words, they knew the Prophet knew, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he asked me anything you like. Now, you don't say that unless you have the knowledge of everything. Man abi, who's my father? Qal, did he wait for revelation? No. Did he say 1 second, maybe I'll find out tomorrow? No. Did he say inshallah? No. Did he say let me consult this Qur'an? No. He said straight away, Abuka Hudhafa, your father is Hudhafa. Then another man got up. Who is my father? And he goes, Abuka Salim, your father is Salim. He knew instantly and instinctively. And what happened was, he was getting annoyed because these are not the questions he wanted to answer. He wanted people to ask him about guidance. But he said, ask me anything you like. It's in Bukhari. So it shows instinctively he knew the knowledge. So if they ask who's my great-great-grandfather, he would have known. Is that knowledge he divulged? No, he didn't divulge it. And it's not just knowledge of what people know, it's other types of knowledge. Again, you find in Bukhari. Hazrat Osama radiallahu ta'ala an, the Prophet said sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he basically was looking at Madinatul Munawwara, and he said, هل ترون ما أرى إني أرى الفتن تقع خلال بيوتكم مواقع القطر. He said that, do you see what I see? هل ترون ما أرى, do you see what I see? إني أرى, indeed I see the trials pouring on your homes, buyutikum mawaqi' al-qatr, like drops of rain, like rain is falling. I see the trials coming down. How can you see trials coming down? What sort of sight is that? That's an amazing sight. You're seeing a trial. How can you? A trial is something that's not physical. It's not like rain. But he goes, I can see them coming. I can see the trials coming down to your homes. And you haven't even experienced the trials yet. So he's seeing the future, but he's seeing how Allah sends the trials down onto your homes. This is again in Bukhari. So this is the strength of insight he had. Not only did he have the knowledge, his sight was so amazing, he could see the trials coming down, pouring on the homes. Again, Bukhari. Before the battle of Badr, the Prophet ﷺ, he went round the battlefield. He's putting his hand on the floor, and he's saying, هذا مصرع فلان غدا إن شاء الله. This is where this person will be killed tomorrow, inshallah. فقال Umar said رضي الله تعالى عنه, فوالذي بعثه بالحق. He says, for those who sent with the truth, ما أخطأ الحدود التي حد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. No one missed their places where they fell, where the Prophet had said صلى الله عليه وسلم. How can you go into that much detail? You know, a battle is so messy, so chaotic. And he says, it was a number of people. He said, in this place this person will fall, in this place this person will fall. He walked somewhere else, in this place this person will fall. You don't even know where the lines are going to be drawn tomorrow. But you don't even know who's going to be fighting, who's going to die tomorrow. You don't even know even if a battle is going to happen tomorrow. But he knew the battle was going to happen, and he knew these are the places these people are going to fall. This is Sahih Muslim. And Hazrat Umar said, radiyallahu ta'ala, not a single person missed their place. So when you say knowledge of unseen, I think definitely we have to accept he had a huge level of knowledge of the unseen. Now, how much the Sunnis say? We say, as far as we're concerned, is unlimited. As far as we're concerned, our unlimited, to be honest, has a limit. It's unlimited. And when they say, "Oh, you're giving the knowledge to him like you give to Allah," he goes, "No, Allah knows more than that. His knowledge is even more unlimited." But we can't limit the knowledge of the Prophet ﷺ, because that's an insult to Allah. So we say his knowledge, as far as we're concerned, is unlimited. As far as Allah is concerned, yeah, obviously Allah has infinite knowledge. How much He's given, we don't know. فَأَوْحَى إِلَىٰ عَبْدِهِ مَا, we don't know how much He's given. So how can we say we put limit on it? We can't. That's between Allah and His Messenger. So that's what we answer. That's between Allah and His Messenger. But how dare you put a limit on this when Allah doesn't put a limit on it or doesn't tell us?
The knowledge of unseen, as I said earlier, is it accessible to non-prophets as well?
Yes, it is.
Not through narration, as in.
Yeah, it is. It's accessible but directly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After all, Hazrat Maryam, the mother of Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, Allah inspired her to put her baby in a basket. Now, she won't do that for no reason. Actually, the Qur'an says we inspired her to do that. So that's knowledge of the unseen. Hazrat Sulaiman wanted the throne of Bilqis, and he says, who will bring me the throne? And a jinn said, I'll bring it to you, I have the power. How did he get the power? But a man says, I'll bring it to you, I have the power. And Allah says how he got the power from knowledge of the book, knowledge of Qur'an. So those who Allah inspires knowledge of Qur'an, they have knowledge of the unseen. But they don't tell people. Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala once was giving a khutbah, and he just paused. He goes, Ya Sariya, the mountain. And he carried on with his khutbah. There was a battle going on. Sariya was in charge, hundreds of miles away. And when he came afterwards, he said, I heard your voice, Ya Umar, and I looked at the mountain and we managed to defend ourselves. It's all, you know, I can't put everything in this book. Yeah, there is evidence. Even one of the people who used to clean the blessed grave of the Prophet ﷺ, this is his narration. He said, my eyesight's very bad, but when I went in to clean, it was absolutely perfect. I could see all the dust, I could see everything. And he goes, we had to change the curtain as well. And he goes, I managed to carry it, and when I took it outside, 10 men couldn't carry it. You know, this is a special knowledge and power Allah gives. And this is a person who cleans around the blessed grave of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is his own saying. So yeah, this knowledge of unseen, I mean, as I said, Qur'an has confirmed that this man brought the throne of Bilqis, he had the power because he had knowledge of the book. So it is with people. But we call that inspiration, not revelation. No. Well, you experience it, but let me prove to you from Qur'an how that knowledge is. Allah says in Qur'an, Idna sirat al-mustaqim, sirat al-ladhina anamta alayhim. Allah says, follow the people, those who I've given blessing to. Right? Who are these people? An'ama Allah alayhim min al-nabiyyin was-siddiqeen was-shuhada was-salihin. These are the prophets, the shuhada, the truthful, and the righteous. Allah says, I have blessed these people. What's He blessed them with? It's knowledge. It's information. And why is Allah blessed them? Because they've got sincere, decent hearts. They've got taqwa. So Allah's chosen them and blessed them. Allah doesn't let anybody guide. You only guide with Allah's permission. Da'iyan ilallah bi'idhnihi. Allah says, invite to Allah bi'idhnihi, with His permission. Isa alayhi salam, his knowledge of the unseen, he used to raise people from the dead. How did he do that? But Allah's given him permission. That knowledge, that secret power is unseen. He used to speak from the cradle. How did he get that power? So this knowledge, Ilme ghayb, it's everywhere in Qur'an. It's not just for the Prophet ﷺ, but the Prophets were special. Remember, he's saying in Tirmidhi, Imam Tirmidhi is saying this, he's recording this, and it's Hazrat Mu'adh bin Jabal radiallahu, it's the Prophet's own words, and it's a Hasan hadith, everybody accepts it, that I felt Allah's hand between my shoulder blades, I felt the fingertips, you know. We can't understand that. These are his words. And I felt a coolness in my chest until until everything became clear to me. Yeah. And to observe trials, to observe tests. How on earth do you observe a test? If someone's being tested with, say, for example, a decision they have to make, whether to go, for example, whether to wake up for tahajjud. How can you observe that test? Falling on the home. We can't even imagine it. We can see it afterwards. We can't see it before. This is what we call knowledge. And when Allah says, فَأَوْحَى إِلَىٰ عَبْدِهِ مَا أَوْحَى, I've given him knowledge, I've revealed to him whatever I've revealed. No, there's none of your business. And don't forget the other hadith we've had, where the Prophet said, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Allah has given me the treasures, the keys to the treasures of the earth. Remember we've gone through that hadith? Allah has given me the keys to the treasures of the earth. There were times he was praying and he was walking forward, and then he started walking back, and they asked him after the prayer, why were you walking forward? He goes, I saw the fruits of Jannah right in front of me. He goes, if I had plucked one, in other words, his hand could go into a different dimension. If I plucked one and gave it to you, you'd be eating from it until the last day. That's one of the experiences, yes. The other was upon his creation. He wasn't created blank, as some people think. He wasn't created a non-Muslim, na'udhu as some people think. I won't mention who, but Nu'man Ali Khan mentioned that. He says even the Prophet had to accept Islam at one point. Hopefully it was just a mistake, because that affects his iman.
That's a illogical question, really.
Well, I'm glad you say that, but until it's explained to people, they're not going to say that, are they? Now it seems pretty obvious, because you've gone through the evidence. I mean, you probably knew before, but if you go through the evidence, it reconfirms that. But people, they catch slogans. Any questions on this?
How many instances in the Prophet's life were there where the knowledge was imparted directly from Allah SWT rather than through Jibreel Islam?
I only know of this main occasion, but I mean the other occasion was Miraj. فَأَوْحَى إِلَى عَبْدِهِ مَا أَوْحَى. So those are two occasions. And who knows how else, because he never told us everything. So this is one occasion, and the other occasion, Miraj, where Allah confirms in Qur'an, فَأَوْحَى إِلَى عَبْدِهِ, there was special revelation given to him. Because this whole surah is about the meeting between Allah and the Prophet ﷺ. Even the words of his mother, Hazrat Amina, radiyallahu ta'ala anha, she, I don't know if you know her dying words. No? Haven't I put it in this? Yeah, I put it in here. So from Imam Suyuti's book, but basically she said, from memory, I know that you will influence man to do good, and the influence will spread around the world. And although I will pass away, I will be remembered through your achievements, things like that. And I know you'll spread Allah's message, wide, and words like that, beautiful. Now, how did she know that? Now, you can't assume that the Blessed Mother of the Prophet ﷺ is going to be ignorant of all this, carrying the greatest of creation. You can't assume that. That's completely illogical to the way Allah has His system. So of course she knows, of course she knew.